Hey everybody, how are you today? Today we're going to talk about a 2015 Volvo VNL, how to R&R the DPF filter. First, what we are going to do is we're going to take these 4 bolts off right here, these 4 nuts, 2 on this side and 2 on this side to take this plate off and out of our way. Okay, you got to wiggle this a little bit. It gets kind of tight on this one end here, but the whole thing does come out. And then you just set that out of the way. Next thing you want to do is you want to take either this end off or this end off over here. Doesn't matter much. I'm going to take this end off over here. Which is an 11 millimeter deep socket. Okay, go ahead. I just put the clamp a little bit out of the way like that. Then next thing you want to do is take your dozer valve off, which is a 5 millimeter Allen. There's 3 screws on it. One here, one on the bottom in the back, one at the top in the back. Once you have the bolts out of there, all you do is pull this straight back and just let it hang there. Clean up a little bit around the side there. Clean up all the crusty stuff. Okay, the next thing we got to do on the back part of the DPF, there is this holding, it's not really holding, it's just in case everything falls apart, kind of bracket that's underneath it. It has 4 14 millimeter bolts on the back part of it. All you have to do is take those out and get the clamp out of the way. Okay, next what we're going to do is we're going to remove these sensors. This is a 7/8 or 22 millimeter. Then this back one over here, that's a 17 millimeter. This one up here is also 17 millimeter. Over here, we're going to take this hose off of here, this wire harness. That's a 7 millimeter. And just so that we have a little bit of play here, we're going to loosen this 7 millimeter, not taking it off all the way, just loosen it up a little bit. Ow. Okay, so next we're gonna put a floor jack in the middle underneath this just to support it, so that when we take the clamps off that it doesn't fall down on the ground. These big clamps are 13 millimeter deep sockets. They do pop out on the other end, so you don't have to take the nuts all the way off. You just loosen it up and unhook it on the other end. And then you loosen this bottom one right here. Next. On these clamps here, sometimes they get caught, so you just got to put a big screwdriver or something in there and kind of just pop them loose. And then there's a third section in the back also, and then once it's loose, it'll just fall right off of there, and you can either leave it sitting there or just kind of work it, get it out of your way. Then what you want to do is turn this a little bit so you have a space right here between the two. And then next thing, after you make sure that this one here is out, otherwise it'll get caught and it won't come down, then you will slowly let this down, and you'll have to move it just a little bit in the back and kind of just play with it, and then the whole thing will fall down. Okay, next thing you want to do is get a piece of wood, a wooden board or something that's big enough to go underneath from side to side to your DPF filter, which is this part right here, so that you don't crush the screen underneath with the floor jack. Then what you're going to do is you're going to take off this next clamp right here, and which is the same clamp as this one here, down at the bottom. You just loosen this nut, take the nut off all the way so you can spread it apart. Then you take the big screwdriver or pry bar if it's stuck, if you can't get this unstuck, and then just pop it loose. Comes loose real easy. And then you lower your DPF filter and take it off to have it cleaned, or put a new one in like I did. First time I did this job, took me less than an hour for the whole entire thing, where the dealership wanted over $1,200 just in labor to pull it out and put a brand new one in, which the parts were extra on top of the $1,200. So definitely not worth it. Do it yourself. Okay, so this is what the DPF filter looks like from the top. In order to check it to see if yours can be cleaned, you take a small wire or something and just push it down in there and see how far down it goes. Once you hit your soot that's down there, it'll get stiff, and you gotta see how far down it'll go. If it loosens up when you go up and down, and you can get all the way down there, then your filter can still be cleaned. And as you can see, mine went down a very long way, almost all the way to the bottom. So it could definitely be cleaned. So that's another thing I was lied to about, that it is full and I need to have a new one put in. So I put a new one in, but now I'm gonna have a spare, because I'm gonna go and have this one cleaned, so that for the next time, I'm gonna go ahead and just swap them out and take that one out, the dirty one out, put this one in, and then I'll have the other one cleaned, and it'll take me less than a couple of hours, less than an hour to do the whole entire job. And that way I don't have any downtime. All right, so now we're gonna put this thing back together, bringing it up very slowly. Make sure that this clamp, which goes around here, is not hanging down behind the housing. Otherwise, you're gonna have to take it all back apart again to get it out. So make sure you get it out before you put it back up on the jack. And then you just bring it up very slowly. sure you don't force anything in there. Just take it easy, take it slow. Keep going up, keep going up. Make sure that this pipe here lines up with the hole that it goes into, that you don't bend that as you're going up. And then once it's up, then you put this pipe back, this clamp here back on. Make sure you get it around both the filter and the housing, all the way around. Okay, so we're gonna leave this clamp on. Once you make sure go all the way around the back, everything that it is on both parts, and then you're just gonna put the nut on there and leave it on there loose so that you can still spin this thing. You're gonna put your gasket on this end over here if you took this side off here, and then you're just gonna twist it into that until it's tight, and then you can take this next clamp and put that clamp back around there. Okay, then once you got this clamp on there, you can go ahead and tighten that sucker on up, 11 millimeter. Then you want to put over here and put this tube back in. By the way, if you replace the differential pressure regulator, which is on the top, make sure you take both these tubes out and clean them up, because soot gets built up inside there. And then even with the new differential pressure regulator, it's not gonna work right. All right, so when you tighten these two clamps up over here, make sure on this bottom one, it likes to fall down on the back side. So make sure it's straight all the way around, goes all the way up underneath this clip, and good and straight so that it doesn't come loose when you're going down the road. Then you want to tighten this 7 millimeter back up to tighten the harness in there. Tighten that bolt back up if you loosen that, and put the dozer and the two sensors back in. And then of course the bracket on the back. And that's it. Not really worth $1,200 at the dealer.